Hello and welcome to the Racing Postcast, proudly sponsored by Unibet. We have top-class action to look forward to this weekend from all across the world. We start on Saturday afternoon with 5 ITV races from Wetherby, 4 at Ascot also, and the return of a Gold Cup runner-up, Jerry Colomb at Down Royal. In the evening, we then head stateside to find out whether City of Troy can pull off a bit of a Breeders' Cup miracle and win the Classic for Aidan O'Brien. And we'll also have some selections for next week, where we go down under for the Melbourne Cup. Lots to look forward to. And we've got some top tips just hoping to give the bookmakers a bit of a scare on Halloween. Graeme Rodway and Jonny Pearson. And Unibet's Brett Williams also joins us on the show. We're going to crack straight in, boys. We've got so much to get through. And we're going to start off with a 115 at Wetherby. The bet boost at Bet365 Handicap Chase. Competitive 2.5 mile handicap to kick us off. Let's start with you, Graeme. What are we thinking for the first at Wetherby?
The 115 we're starting off with, aren't we? There's so many races this weekend, isn't there, St James? I mean, it's going to be a great weekend. I thought that Fusane had a chance if he's back to his best. Of course, you've got to take a lot on trust because he hasn't been off. He's been off the track for 409 days, but he was in good form when he was last running. He was putting together a good, solid profile, and I expect that he's open to further improvement, even though the fact that he's gone down £6 here. Patrick Neville trains him, obviously of the Real Whacker fame. And the stable form is a bit of a note to suggest that maybe this horse will be fully wound up first time back off such a long absence, because Neville is absolutely flying at the moment. He's had 2 winners from his last 5 winners, and it's also worth noting that he's booked Brian Hughes to ride, who of course is the go-to man up north, and all of that I think points to the fact that maybe this Fusane might be fully wound up after a break, and if he is, he must go well. But that's going to be one of the themes of this whole podcast over jumps, isn't it, James? Which horse is going to be fully wound up first time out after so long off? It's a difficult time of year, isn't it?
Yeah, no prices I don't think we've got for this race, but Fusane for Graeme. Jonny?
I'd just like to say congrats to Rodders on his selections last week. Absolutely smashed it. So hopefully more of the same from all of us. I'm going for a horse that's been extremely disappointing of late, and that is Imperial Bead for John Joe O'Neill and team. You know, you go back to 2021, he was, albeit in a bumper, he was ahead of Il France and Irish Point, which obviously, you know, that form's worked out pretty well. He was very good at Southall in February when winning over fences. And just unfortunately been pretty disappointing in the last sort of 5-6 runs. But if putting it together, I think he's very well handicapped and should go well here.
Imperial Bead for Jonny. Brett, do you like any of the selections by the boys?
Well, I've not actually gone for any of those two. I should just point out we will be best industry price all runners in this race. So from 9 o'clock Saturday, you will get the best odds with us. I quite like King's Threshold in this for Emma Laval and Harry Cobden. I'm just looking through the stats, and Harry's only ever ridden for Emma Laval 3 times without success so far, but that could be back to change. I think it's also got a good squeak, to be honest. I think stepping back down in trip will definitely suit it. I think the better ground will also play to its strengths as well. And I think also could be quite well treated off a mark of 1, 2, 3. As you said, it's a wide open race. You can make a case for quite a lot of them. Fitness has got to be taken on trust at this stage of the season. But no, I think King's Threshold's got a really good chance. The other one who I do think is well handicapped, if there is rain on the other side of the coin for King's Threshold, who wants it good, I think Choose the News wants a bit of cut in the ground, and I could certainly give that one a chance as well for Jamie Hamilton and Mark Walford. But no, King's Threshold for me for Emma Laval.
Good. So we're going to move on to the next. This is the 150 at Wetherby, the Bet365 Mares Hurdle. We're going to come back to you, Brett, on this one because Lucia, the champion hurdle third, runs here. Odds on favourite. The first real big gun from the Henderson Yard to appear over the autumn, I'd say. This Lucia?
Yeah, I mean, she's miles clear on racing. She's entitled to win this, and she's entitled to win it doing a handstand, really. It's worth pointing out she did run in this race and was beaten 12 months ago, but I don't think Nicky had her quite tuned up on that occasion. I remember speaking to him and he said, we thought she'd done enough, but clearly she hadn't. I think she's done a little bit more this time. There was sort of that rain. Doesn't feel like it stopped raining, but it's amazing. It's good up there at the minute. But he has managed to get the horses onto the Farringdon Road, the grass gallop. So hopefully that's brought them on a little bit We saw he had a winner last week at Cheltenham with Highland. So you'd like to think the team are pretty much ready to go. As you said, she's miles clear. I think she's £12 clear of her nearest rival, and she should win this. James Bowen, of course, gets on very well with her. Obviously, the betting suggests it's pretty much a one-horse race, and Take No Chances is the next best in the market at around 9-2. I thought she ran well last time in the Silver Trophy at Chepstow. She's taken a drop back down in trip, having run over 3 miles and 2.5. So they might sort of go and make plenty of use of her over this 2-mile trip. But, I think they're just going to be playing for second fiddle if Lucia is fully tuned up, which I'd say she probably will be.
Okay, some encouraging signs then on the odds-on favourite Lucia. Jonny, are we for or against Lucia?
I'm pretty much in agreement with Brett here. Take No Chances. Ran well at Chepstow, as I said, but that was over 2.5. Before that, last 4 or 5 runs are all over 3 miles, if not more runs than that. I think, the drop down 2 miles is actually a negative. I don't think she'll have quite enough speed when it's needed, even if she does go out and make a decent gallop of it. If Lucia's, 90% fit, she should be winning her.
Okay, so 2 out of 2. Graeme, are we going to go for Lucia, who was beaten in this race last year, as Brett said, at 11-8? So it's not beyond the realm. She is beaten again.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm well keen to take her on, James. It's her first time back off a long layoff, isn't it? So this definitely won't be number one target, will it, for her all season? She'll definitely have bigger fish to fry. And of course, like you say, she was beaten in the race last year. She was a handicapper herself, of course, not that long ago. She's come out of handicaps, and yeah, she finished 3rd in Champion Hurdle. But I mean, that was one of the worst Champion Hurdles I've seen. It was so bad, wasn't it? I mean, I might have finished placed in it. It was absolutely terrible Champion Hurdle, and then she was thrashed by Impera Pass, who again been beaten a million times before, hadn't he? By all the top horses. So. Yeah, I'll be dead against Lucia at odds on back here, and the one that I like is Take No Chances. I'm not worried about the drop in trip, especially as the deal seems to be really suited by a strongly run race, and ran a quick time last time out in handicap company at Chepstow. I like horses that run quick times then go down in trip, because usually you're guaranteed that you're going to get the pace, which is what they like. And I think Johnny's already alluded to the fact that I could see a little bit of a different change of tactics here. I'll be quite surprised if we don't see Take No Chances jump out somewhere towards the lead and try and make the most of that proven stamina from further. And I reckon that with proven fitness on her side, Take No Chances, she's got a really good chance of getting these horses at it. And if Lucia ain't fully cranked up, then she might be found wanting by the stronger stayer. So I'm quite strong on Take No Chances, James.
Of course, for the informed scouts who have started that season so well, especially this week. Loads of winners up and down the country. Take No Chances, 4-1 for Graeme. On to our third from Wetherby. This is the 222, the Bet365 hurdle, a race which is a bit of a pointer towards the Stayers hurdle and those top 3-mile hurdle races. And some intriguing new names in the lineup here. Sangor Clegane, I can pronounce that right, for Paul Nolan. Thunder Rock going up in trip. But then we've also got good old Dashel Drasher, whether he's got his ground, whether he's still good at 11 years old, who knows. 3-1, I make it for Sangor Clegane and Dashel Drasher. There's been a bit of money about Brett. 11-4 favourite now. When I looked earlier, he was 3-1, so a bit of money about for the old boy.
Yeah, I mean, he said he just touched off, wasn't he, last year? It's a crack in the race, isn't it? It's wide open, as the betting would suggest. I think it's interesting that Thunder Rock is running here. Did I see his name among the Charlie Hall entries? So it's interesting they're going to go back over hurdles with him. And Ollie Murphy also had strong leader engaged in this race as well. So it is, I think, could perhaps be a bit of a pointer that he is running Thunder Rock in this race. Although I wouldn't say this has been his primary objective. I definitely expect him to improve for this. I quite like Sandor Clegane, or Clegane, however you pronounce it. Got the cheap pieces on for the first time. Brings some real sort of strong Grade 1 form into this race, albeit over fences. And I think he just could, in a race where a few of them might not be fully tuned up, the fact that they're coming over with this horse would suggest they feel that he's primed to run a decent race. And the other one there, slightly bigger price, Beacon Edge, ran at Cheltenham last week behind the Wall Park, the other runner for Gordon Elliott. That, of course, would have blown the cobwebs away. they're probably trying to make hay while the sun shines or while the ground's good. He seems to go best when decent underfoot conditions. So yeah, I wouldn't rule out Beacon Edge, but I do think that Sandor Clegane is the most likely winner.
Yeah, we saw the Irish dominating at Cheltenham last week, so just follow them again. It's the way to go, it seems, last week. Jonny,
just say, James, we are super boosting all the runners in that race. I will get sacked if I don't say this. Super boosting the runners in that 2:22 at Wetherby.
Good man. Jonny, who do you want to see super boost? Who do you want to see super boosted?
Well, I think the market's got this wrong. I mean, Sandor Clegane obviously has the, novice grade 1 form over fences, and Thunder Rock is, decent form. But they're both chasers. They're both having their first run over hurdles, and I'd be amazed if their next runs aren't over fence. And I don't think they're going to be fully wound up on this occasion. Dash obviously a good third in the race last year. I think 11 might need it aging, so I wouldn't be too convinced by him. But I like the chance of Katira for the Skelton team. Good winner at Aintree when last seen. Yes, there's a chance she might need it. We'll find out. But the Skelton horses are running well, and I think she's still improving. And I think she should be near enough ahead of the market here and has got a great chance.
Katira for Jonny, about 13-2. I make it. Graeme, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, I agree with what Jonny said, almost to a T. I think that the two at the top of the market, I don't like horses that are switching back from fences to hurdles anyway, even though Thunder Rock can't jump for toffee over chases, so can't really blame him for coming back over hurdles. Katira, I thought would be favourite when I looked at the race. I thought, well, Katira would be favourite here. Skelton's flying. Really big improved performance to win that handicap hurdle at Aintree last season, and I thought was the horse that was going forward against a bunch of old chasing boats that are coming back over hurdles. So good bet, I think, Katira.
2 shouts for Katira in the 2:22. Our third race at Wetherby. We now come on to the big one. The 2:50 at Wetherby is the Bet365 Charlie Hall Chase. We've got Bravemansgame looking to win this again. He was beaten, of course, last year by French Dynamite for Mouse Morris, who comes back. We've also got Grey Dawning for the Skeltons. Now, we've had 2 shouts for the Skeltons. We had 4 for John McConnell last week. Graeme, are we going to continue with a theme of solo trainers winning up and mopping up a big day?
If Grey Dawning's right, I think he'll definitely win. By far the most exciting horse in the race, Grey Dawning. Could be a serious Gold Cup horse, couldn't he, for the Skeltons here? Really excited by Grey Dawning for the season ahead. Of course, the problem is that he's coming in off a long break. This definitely won't be his number 1 target for the season. They will almost certainly have the Betfair Chase and other big races in mind, and I don't think he'll be fully wound up. And therefore, I can't really back him at around 2-1. I think they will have Bravemansgame quite well cranked, won't they? Because this is pretty much his race, isn't it? How many races is Bravemansgame really going to win this year? I mean, he's a lovable old sort of 9-year-old going on 10, isn't he? But he's short of the top class. We've seen it many, many times, and this is really a golden opportunity for him to win a race, really. And if he doesn't win it, you'd wonder if he's going to win one all season. However, a big price. I'm going to have a small bet on Hang In There. Might seem a bit silly, but again, we've got horses at the top of the markets coming in off long breaks, and Hang In There's fit from the summer. Has got a bunch of good efforts to his name under huge weights in handicaps. He's uncomplicated. He's fully fit. He'll go from the front. He'll blast away. And if there's any fitness doubts about those in behind, he'll expose it. So I can't have him at such a big price. So it's Hang In There at the odds for me here, James.
28-1 with Unibet, a really good each way bet. Could be. Jonny, what do we like here?
I think Bravemansgame is the most likely winner of the race. I wouldn't fancy having a bet at 6-4 or whatever the price is. But I'd be amazed if he's not tuned up for it. He's only just touched off in it last year. They then didn't manage to get a win with him all season. You've got to think they're really going to be trying going for it here, as Rod has alluded to. But at the price, I'm happy to give it a miss. Grey Dawning is very exciting, but you need to see. I'm surprised they're declared actually with the ground being good. I think he definitely wants off the ground, but it's a race to look forward to. But I think we'll find out more about the horses with a view to the longer term picture of the season more than anything.
Okay, we're going to sit this one out and watch. Brett, are we with Bravemansgame? Are we taking him on?
No, I agree with everything both Jonny and Graeme have said, to be honest. This has been the target for Bravemansgame probably since he sort of went out to summer last year. Said, what other races is he going to be capable of winning throughout the campaign as it really starts to notch up a gear? I think the factor here will be the ground. He is better on better ground. He's here off a third wind operation, which clearly obviously suggests he's got breathing issues, and they can obviously get through it when the ground's better as opposed to when it's hard work and heavy. So that's a good plus to me, the decent ground for Bravemansgame. As you've already alluded to, this is not, this isn't the main aim for Grey Dawning. I think there was an interview with Dan Scouten up at Aintree last week, and he said, he is concerned about the ground not being soft enough for Grey Dawning, but he just needs to get a run into these horses. So, Bravemansgame, it's his race to lose as far as I'm concerned. If he's beaten in this, he'll probably struggle for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think ground for Bravemansgame is becoming increasingly important. And I know you've mentioned that his form last season, and he didn't win. He possibly would have gone very close in the King George. So he's still a good force on his day.
He was unlucky not to win last year, really. I mean, he made a terrible mistake at the Lad before Gentleman's Game came and sort of got him on the line. So, had he not done that, he could be here seeking a double in the race.
We will see. On to the last from Wetherby on ITV. This is the 332, I can't even say it. The Never Ordinary, a Bet365 handicap hurdle, where we've got another favourite for the Skeltons. We'll get to Graeme in a second. Jonny, what do we like in this one?
I'm going to go with the Nicky Henderson trained Goblet of Fire here. Been running on the flat through the summer, continually improving. I was at Newbury the day he was third there, and actually probably should have won that race, but it was a slow pace, just couldn't quite get the job done. He was a good winner at Southwell over hurdles, about a week ago now. I think, good ground's clearly important. So, I don't think there's a horse you're going to see through the winter, but I think while the ground's good, they're going to try and get another win. He was entered in a race at Ascot as well, but they've gone to the Wetherby option, which looks a more winnable race, so to speak. I think he should put a good effort in, should probably win this.
Brett, are you going to give us a positive update from the Nick Henson camp on Goblet of Fire, or are you going to knock Jonny for six here? No,
I think I agree with everything he said, to be honest. And again, the ground's good, so that's why he's obviously getting them out there. He's not going to be one of the yard's larger lights, but this time of year, get them out whilst the ground's suitable. There's three here that are all sort of here or off the flat: Goblet of Fire, V12, and Pièce de Resistance. Pièce de Resistance is a massive price, around sort of 25 to 1. And only having its 6 run over hurdles, it's got some decent form on the flat. I think it went off 85 a couple of years ago. Look at its form figures. It was, placed behind Dancing in Paris at York in May. So that's strong form. Obviously, he's got to improve again back over hurdles today. But it's not probably an each way race with just the 7 runners. But you never know. He could finish in the early Pièce de Resistance. But no, I think Goblet of Fire, is the most likely winner here. On what could be a good afternoon for James Bowen and Nicky Henderson up at Wetherby.
Indeed. So Goblet of Fire, another support for at 9 to 4, but also the rank outsider. Interesting angle there, 18 to 1 Pièce de Resistance. Graeme, are we with the Skeltons again, or what are we thinking?
No, I'm not with them this time. I think that V12 is an interesting runner, James, because the horse has been in fantastic form on the flat all summer. And probably had a little pipe opener for this race at Carlisle last time when it went off favourite and ran a decent race without really getting involved in the finish to finish third. But the reason I think that might have been a pipe opener for this is that he's a course and distance winner last season under William Maggs, who claims £5, and Maggs is back on for the first time, I think, since that course and distance win. Just looks like he's a bit of a plot job back at his favourite track where he scored last time. And I thought he's shaped quite nicely in that prep run at Carlisle. And like I say, he comes in fit and raring to go off the flat, which I really like at this time of year. I already said that's one of the most important factors when betting at this time of year over jumps is you want horses that are coming in fit and firing. And we know that V12 is. So back at where he won last time, V12 is my selection.
Okay, V12, 17 to 2 for Graeme. That sums up all the action at Wetherby. We'll be back for a bit more, and we'll be kicking off with the selections from Ascot after a quick word about the Racing Post Insider. Okay, so we move on to Ascot, where we have got 4 races for you on ITV, starting with the 1:30, the Ascot Underwriting Novices Limited Handicap Chase over 2 mile free. Good old Samarive is in this race for a 3rd consecutive season, still not broken his novice status, but Paul Nicholls, also some interesting runners, including one, Brett, from the Nicky Henson stable. What can you tell us about Baloo?
Well, when we went to the yard a couple of weeks ago to record the Unibet stable tour, which I should say is online now to watch if you want to look at it. It's an hour long, and you need to grab yourself a cup of tea and a coffee if you're going to watch it. But anyway, when we went through all the horses, he was sort of very keen to make sure that we included this horse, Barlow. Obviously, he's got some smartish form over hurdles and in bumpers, but I do just get the impression from Nicky that he thinks this horse could take sort of quite high order among his novice chasers this year, which he has. Loads and loads of novices to go to war with. I just think that the ground is going to be crucial. He's going there for the surface. He's had a nice sort of run round. Was it Warwick back in May? He's had a bit of a break, come back from that. I think he could be a real smart novice. But it's a very tight race, isn't it? You've got Leader of the Park, who again brings some strong form into the race. He's a point-to-point winner. Good effort behind Peaky Boy at Cheltenham back in April. And then, as you said, you've got Samarive, who's highest rated in the race, most experienced over fences, but just hasn't quite looked a natural as he over the larger obstacles. And we are giving you a price boost in this race. So go onto the website to get the best odds for one of the horses in this race, whether it's Leader in the Park or Barlow. Time will tell. But it's sort of trying to avoid the Henderson horses all the time. But no, I'm gonna stick with Barlow. I think it could be quite smart over fences this year.
Okay, Barlow is 3-1 for Brett. Graeme, what do we like?
Yeah, I agree with Brett. I think the Barlow is the most likely winner of the race. He wasn't a great jumper of hurdles, but I hope that he might improve the switch to chasing. He goes well on decent ground, which you'd say it's going to be Ascot this weekend, and I think that he's got just as much potential, if not more, than the favourite Leader in the Park. Wouldn't surprise me if Barlow went off favourite here. So I'm with Brett and Barlow too.
Jonny, all in on Barlow?
No, I mean, I won't be having a bet here, but I think, had Samarive been seen since last November, I don't think he'd be in the race. I think he would have won by now. But I think, if he's anywhere near his best, I think he probably will win. But I can't entertain having a bet on him, having not seen him since this time last year, near enough.
Okay, sure. One to avoid. We move on to our second race, the 2:05 at Ascot, the Byrne Group Handicap Chase, a really competitive 2 mile race. And Brett, money back offer in this race to look out for.
Yeah, always a good offer, this one. And if you back the second or the third, you will get your money back as cash, which hopefully is a nice incentive to get involved in this race. It's a good one, isn't it? Master Chewy, obviously the best horse in the race, carries top weight for a reason. Here off the run, a good run, I thought, when just touched off in the Maghall novices at Aintree. This is obviously a Premier Handicap. He's well clear on ratings, and it's his race to lose. I think really it's a good race, obviously, but no, I think for me, I think you look at the race and think, is there anything else that can beat Master Chewy? And the form of the yard, the form of the horse. There's plenty of ticks in the right boxes. So yeah, Master Chewy for me. Master
Chewy at 3-1. Interesting race, as you say. We've got Son Segal, who's been so unlucky, and as a fan of a horse, I can tell you it's a frustrating horse to follow. And also Uncle Phil, really interesting runner, Willie Mullins and Paul Townend. Graeme, where are we looking?
I'm with Master Chewy. He's a grade 1 borderline novice, wasn't he? Last season he was still in there pitching when he fell in the Arkle. He came back round, found the 50 really close, front two pulled nicely clear. He's the sort of horse that I like to back in handicaps at this time of the year, because he's probably not going to end up in handicaps by the end of the season. You're probably going to see him running in graded races after he wins here, I would have thought. So I reckon he's got a class edge off top weight, Master Chewy.
Master Chewy 3-1, 2 shouts, beaten only a neck in a grade 1 last time. So very interesting prospect in handicaps. Jonny?
Yeah, I'm going to make it a hat trick and go for Master Chewy as well. Nigel Twiston-Davies will have him fit for the race. Okay, he's carrying top weight, but that's because he's the best horse. He's a grade 2/grade 1 horse in a handicap, and I think he'll be too good here and go on to better things through the season.
There we go, 3-1, all the boys on Master Chewy. So interesting to see how he gets on Saturday. We skip a race and move on to the 3:15 at Ascot. There's a little break for Down Royal, which we'll come back to at the end of this. The 3:15 is a Lavazza handicap hurdle, just under 2 miles, a really competitive handicap hurdle this, loads of good chances. One I like here, Fiercely Proud, who we've drawn at the start at Cheltenham last week, having done almost a lap of a track. Hopefully he gets his big day. That's the one I'm quite keen on, the favourite here. Graeme, are you with against me?
I can certainly see the case for him, and I certainly see the case for Right So Tom, who is an interesting runner for Joe Tizard. First time out for him as well. It's a really good race, isn't it? However, I like the top weight, which is also that Jonny knows a lot about, our champ. I just think that he was probably being laid out for this race. He likes good ground. He went off favourite for it last year, and the ground went against him on the back of a really impressive win at Cheltenham. He was impressive when he won the Sussex Champion Hurdle on good ground. And like I say, he was teed up for this at Market Raisin earlier in the season. Down the field, but almost certainly going to come on for that run. He's got a big weight, but Freddie Gordon's claiming £5 off him. And these are his sorts of races. So I'm hoping that, double figure odds, our champ will run really well.
Our champ, 12-1. Now, Jonny, you're not going to give us a tip in the race, but you're going to tell us a bit about our champ and your certain relationship and whether got any inside information for us.
Well, I can't say I've got much inside information for you. I mean, Dad has a share in the horse. But I know that this race has been the plan for a bit of time now. But I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to be fit enough for the race, but that's still, you're still taking that as at face value, and you're hoping that he is fit enough. But he's got his ground, which he didn't have last year. Knickerbocker Glory won it last year. He wasn't declared. All his form's been on soft and heavy ground, which obviously we've seen in the previous races already. But hopefully he'll run well, and I think he could well be in the first three here.
Okay. Brett, another Nicky Henson runner in here, Break My Soul. One you like, or are you looking elsewhere?
I wouldn't be inclined to go with I'm not saying it won't win, but there's others who I think have got stronger credentials, and it looks very much between, I think, the top three in the betting: Fiercely Proud, Secret Squirrel, and Fireflyer. Fireflyer's here off the back of a wind up. He's beaten Secret Squirrel at Taunton, beaten by a head. Off exactly the same terms today. So there's no real reason why that form should be reversed, albeit, as I said, it was only by a head. And then as you touched there on Fiercely Proud, who was very, very well backed before Cheltenham last week, and obviously, as you said, was pulled out at the start, but clearly Connections have thought that he was ready to equip himself well. He's come into this race with some strong form, behind the likes of Lumpson, Jericho de Repine as well. So that's rock solid form. Back to Fireflyer, and he's only got one bad run on his book, which was at Sandown on very, very soft ground, where he reportedly made a bit of a noise. So that's why they're giving him a wind up. So again, he'll be suited by the better ground. I think they're watering, aren't they, at Ascot? It's quite amazing all the rain we've had in there watering, but that's the world we live in at the minute. No, it's a very, very good race, and we are paying 4 places each way in that as well. So that makes it a little bit easier if you're having a punt in this. But no, I think Firefly for me to come home in front.
Okay, 4 places to get on this race. 15-2, really nice each way chance for the Paul Nicholls team. And the last we're going to look at Ascot is the 3:45 the Sodexo Live, should I say, Gold Cup Handicap Chase, worth a whopping 100 grand, and the return of Chianti Classico, winner of the Ultimate at last year's Cheltenham Festival. Am I right for Henry de Bromhead? And Brett, I'll come back to you. Our Power, what can you tell us about the former winner?
Yeah, I spoke to Sam Thomas this morning, actually. This race has been the aim, sort of pretty much since he came back in. He's not that well handicapped, albeit Dylan takes, £3 off his back. He's still quite burly. And while he does like decent ground, Sam is concerned if it is going to be rattling quick, he won't even run. So he is going to walk the course beforehand. I think he's got a runner in I think Qatar Tidori runs a little bit earlier on. So they'll get an idea with the ground there. So a watching brief advised with regards to the ground for our Power. But as I said, this has been the aim for him. And the ultimate objective is to go back to Kempton for the Coral Gold Cup or Coral Trophy, whatever it is now, the Old Racing Post Chase. So that's the story from him. I saw him last week scored. He looks in great form. This is a hard race. High stakes player is the horse that I've narrowed it down to. Obviously, Chianti Classico, the Cheltenham Festival winner, second season. Obviously, he's bringing some strong form into the race. But I think high stakes player is 4th and 5 last season. is improving, and again, he'll be suited by the good ground.
High stakes player, a 8-1 chance for Brett. Jonny, what do we like?
I like the profile of Solo up until his last run at Newbury, where he disappointed and bled from the nose, which means I can't really. If a horse has bled, I like to not back them. We saw with Economics on the flat. I kept on not backing because of what happened in the Dante, even though he won the race. And then obviously that came to light again on Champions Day, unfortunately. Am I right? People keep saying, "Oh, and he's good ground, he's going to win," but he keeps on not winning, and yet he's plenty short enough in the betting. So I'd go with high stakes player as well here. Kept improving through last year. Tom Lacey can get one right for a day. Stan Shepherd's a good jockey, and I think this will be a good day for them.
2 shouts for high stakes player in the 345. Graeme, what are you looking at here?
I think Chianti Classico has got a class edge here. But just talking about Master Chewy being the sort of horse I like to back at this time of year in handicaps. Well, Chianti Classico is a very similar sort of horse, isn't he? He comes in after running Grade 1 Novice Chase in his last start. Yes, he was well beaten by I Know the Way You're Thinking. I think that's what it's called, isn't it? There's a few of them called like weird names, aren't there? He's just got. He could have a massive class edge, couldn't he? I mean, he's the sort of horse again that you could easily see turning up come Cotswold Chase Day, turning up in that Cotswold Chase, being a sort of 7-2, 4-1 shot to win a graded race. So I just think that he's got top weight, but it doesn't matter often when you get a horse that's got a significant amount of class like he has. And Kim Bailey, although he is coming off a long break, Chianti Classico, we know that Kim Bailey always has them tuned up at this time of the year, and he's been absolutely flying. So Chianti Classico, I think, and Master Chewy, there's an interesting little double there. I know they're both favourites, but they might both outclass the opposition off top weight.
I suppose as well on Kim Bailey, does he know run very well for big weight at Cheltenham in a similar race? So that will certainly give a positive mention for him. He's 11-4 favourite Chianti Classico for the 345 at Ascot. And then we now move to Ireland for a Grade 1 action. We've got Jerry Colombe coming back last year's Gold Cup runner-up. He's 8-13. There were some uncertainties whether he was going to run here, whether he was going to go to Wetherby. Given the ground, he's 8-13 to win. Jonny, for or against Jerry Colombe, is this his day?
As a betting proposition, I don't mind backing an odds-on shot if I still think they're value. And I can't see. I mean, the only one who I think would actually give him a run here is Hewitt. Envoy Allen's not the horse he was. Hewitt. Shark Cannon's going to be desperate to get a win with him, given he's got to stop training for a few months. But Jerry Colombe has, I think is the best horse in here, and I think he's the most exciting horse in here, and I think he will win. I actually think 4-6 looks a completely fair price.
Yeah, 8-13. We're currently with Unibet. Interesting you mentioned Hewitt. I did actually speak to Shark Cannon on Monday. We've got David Jennings in Ireland, so I had to pick up some of the Irish, and Shark Cannon interestingly said the horse was working better than he has at any point in his life. So interesting to see what Hewitt can do on Saturday, given he's got his ground. Graeme, Jerry Colombe, straightforward shout here?
No, I don't want to back him at odds on. Not first time up. We know that this is not, his number one target. I'm sure that Gordon Elliott couldn't care less if he don't win a race all season, as Aussie turns up at Cheltenham in March and for the Gold Cup and runs a massive race just like last season. Now, he did run in this race last year under similar circumstances, and I think I said the same thing, and he did win. So, you could argue that he's so good he might get the job done, but he didn't look like he was going to win here last season for the majority of the race. He looked like he was going to get beaten, and it was only in the last few strides that he got unbeat Envoy Len. So I think Envoy Len will be wound up for this race. He should have beaten Jerry Colombe last year, in my opinion. Henry de Bromhead will know that this is a golden opportunity for him to win a Grade 1 race with Jerry Colombe below his best. He obviously won it 2 years ago. It's his race. I like backing horses, like I've already said a million times, at this time of year. I like backing horses where you think they're going to be fully wound up for their race. And I think this is Envoy Len's race. I think Jerry Colombe is by far the most exciting horse going forward. but he might get beat here with Envoy Len beating him.
Envoy Len, last year's runner-up, 3-1. Brett, where do you like here?
We are price boosting Jerry Colomb, so you will get slightly better odds if you fancy Jerry Colomb. I don't think he even needs to be at his best. I think he could win this probably just 90% straight. I think I can't see any reason why he should be beaten, really. As you said, Hewitt is the one that you've got to give a good mention to. You spoke to Shark Allen in the week. I was listening to him on Nick Luck's podcast in the week as well. And I think he's sort of said very similar comments. He says the horse is absolutely fine at home at the minute, and this has been the target, or obviously the Charlie Hall, but this weekend has been the main objective. So yeah, Hewitt will give him the most to think about, but I think Jerry Colomb will win this. I think he'll win it quite handsomely as well.
Okay, good. That's the conclusion then. For
what I would say quickly.
Go on.
What I would say is just to sort of help Rodders out. Henry de Bromhead is operating at 30% win rate at the moment, which is pretty damn good. So, you'd be, slaying his horse, then got a chance would be very, very wrong. For all I don't think he'll win the race still.
Absolutely, and interesting to see how his runners go in the UK as well on Saturday. We move on to stateside after the break, and we'll be finding out whether the panel are going to believe City of Troy is going to make that history-making Breeders' Cup Classic bid a success on Saturday night.
Want betting on the horses to be anything but flat? With an app that impresses every time out. You're on. Want to watch live streaming of races in the UK, Ireland and around the globe? And get a chance to win even bigger with 3 Uniboosts every day on any horses you want. Unibet, you're on.
Okay, we are heading stateside for part 3, where we're looking at the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, where City of Troy, the Derby hero, is trying to make history. Aidan O'Brien is 0 for 14 with his runners in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's got a very special one to take to America. It's been one of the big stories of the season. He's drawn in 3, not the worst draw he could get. Ryan Moore aboard. Brett, it's been a very busy betting market. What are the punters saying about City of Troy? Are they for or against? And are you for and against?
I'm for him, to be honest. I'd love to see him win, and I think he probably will. I think it's going to go one way or the other. I think he'll win and be very, very impressive, or he'll just completely bomb out. I don't think 3 is a particularly bad draw for him. Aidan O'Brien has literally left no stone unturned whatsoever. A lot of people were at Southwell when he did that gallop there. They went a million miles an hour just so that, because they know that's what they're going to do over in Dalmar. And as I said, they really have done everything to try and ensure that he is primed to go. They obviously want him to win for their side. Justify, of course, who himself was a winner of the Kentucky Derby. He's obviously taken on a completely different opposition as to what he's taken on in the UK. Different track, left-handed track, as well, as opposed to the long straight of the Knavesmire and the stiff uphill of Sandown. So it is very much chalk and cheese. But he has been supported with Unibet now. He's into 7-4 favourite from 2-1. So, as I said, the money has come for the Aidan O'Brien Raider. We haven't seen much real opposition to him, to be honest. Fairness is just next best at 130 from 4-1. So a little bit of support for that one. And Forever Young, that has been the best bet outside City of Troy in the race. Now that's 4-1 from 7. So strong support for Forever Young. But as I said, City of Troy, your market leader, a solid market leader at 7-4. I'd love to see him go and do the job. And this has been the plan since before he even ran in the Guinness. They've always said this is where we want to go. And thankfully he's there. Thankfully he's running, unlike Ylang and Jan Brugol over in Australia. I'll just give you 2 other horses that have been backed as well, James, after doing the American stuff. Nakatomi has been strong in the sprint for Wesley Ward. That went out into 17-2 from 11s. And in the Fillion Mare Turf, Hang the Moon, good each way support for that one, into 14-1 from 20s. But go onto the website sort of on Saturday evening into the early hours of Sunday to make sure you get the best odds and offers with us at Unibet.
Great. Move back to City of Troy. Graeme, no European runner has won this race since 1993. It's a huge task he faces, isn't it? Just before you give your selection, you follow sort of all the good flat racing. How big an achievement would this be for Aidan O'Brien if he could pull it off?
Oh yeah, it'd be a magnificent achievement to win it on dirt, wouldn't it? Of course, there have been a couple of European winners on Tapeta, wasn't it? I think was the surface, but yeah, I mean, if he were to win it, I think it would be Aidan O'Brien's greatest achievement, wouldn't it? It'd be his crowning glory of not only City of Troy's career, but also his trainer's career. I think, despite the fact that he's had an amazing career, Aidan O'Brien. Make no mistake, the Breeders' Cup Classic is the one race that matters to the Americans on the whole card. I mean, if you go to a Breeders' Cup, most of the other races the Americans really don't care about. The only one they care about winning is the Classic. And if Aidan O'Brien goes there and beats them in their race with a horse that's never run on dirt, it'd just be something very, very special. And I hope it happens. And it might happen. Mine is a very good chance it will happen. In fact, I mean, he's got stall 3, which you wouldn't always say is a big plus for a European dirt horse. However, those who are drawn around him are not particularly fast from the gates, I'm told. So he might be able to get out and get into a good position. And if he does get into a good position and use up plenty of petrol early, we've seen him keep up that relentless gallop, haven't we, at York last time when he went a really strong pace throughout and broke the track record off the front. And he was absolutely relentless inside the last furlong and was going away from Calandagan again, who ran well at Ascot. So yeah, I'm really excited to see it. And I think the closer we get to the race, James, the more I'm starting to believe that everything's coming right here for City of Troy, and he might be able to do it.
Positive update for City of Troy. That's worth mentioning as well. That race is at 9:41 at Del Mar. It's on ITV, but also you can follow the Breeders' Cup action via the Racing Post. We're going to have a live blog showcasing all the best action, live updates from around the track, and David Jennings in America as well, giving his exclusive insight and report from the action. Jonny, just before I ask for your selection, I mean, how do you go about handicapping when you've got a horse on a completely different surface against those American horses with dirt? Do you adapt differently, or is it just a case of taking what you've got?
In this situation, he's not even running all weather, as you say. I mean, you've literally just got to go off the turf form. But if they've got enough runs on different surfaces, you can build a broader picture of it. I'd argue against Rodgers' point, saying this would be Aidan O'Brien's greatest achievement. I reckon getting Serpentine to win the Derby a few years back was arguably a better achievement, given he didn't win again until earlier this year out in Rosehill in Australia. But that's by the by. I mean, I'm a bit torn. I think City of Troy, from what I've seen this season, factoring into different surfaces, is probably the best horse in the race. But it's whether he'll handle the dirt, whether he'll handle the track. It's going to be much tighter than any of the courses he's been running on. He's drawn well in 3. We saw him make the running last time out. If he breaks well and makes it and all the rest, he's got every chance to win the race. But then you've got the likes of Fierceness, who's been running very well, form very mixed in with Sierra Leone, who's, I think, probably is the main danger here. And Fierceness obviously beat Torpedo Anna last time. I think it's odds on for the distaff and probably will win that. And Forever Young mentioned, I think Japanese might have a couple of winners over the weekend, but probably not in the Classic itself.
Okay, interesting. I thought Forever Young was the one I'd take on City of Troy with if I had to. So difference of opinion, and the market interest that Brett mentioned earlier suggested there was a bit of support for him. So all in all, mixed feelings about City of Troy, but we certainly hope he can do it. Graeme, you've got some other selections on Breeders' Cup night for us.
Yeah, the 901, the Breeders' Cup turf. I mean, Emily Upjohn must have a massive chance here, James, mustn't she? It's taken her a bit of a while to reach her best, but I think a lot of these would have struggled to run the sort of race she ran last time. She was third in the Prix Vermeil, behind the first 2 in the Arc, Blue Stocking and Aventure, was it? I think that was called. And they pulled nicely clear of the rest in that Prix Vermeil. And we know that Emily Upjohn is a far better horse on fast ground than she is on soft ground. I think Emily Upjohn will win that Breeders' Cup turf. And of course, we've got Frankie Dettori and John and Fady Gosden teaming back up again. It would be what a remarkable fairy tale story that would be if they were to come up with another win there. And the 11:45, the Breeders' Cup Mile. I mean, this race is absolutely made for Ramatuelle, isn't it? The horse does not quite stay 7 furlongs, but she's got a mile. She doesn't quite stay a mile, but she's got loads and loads of speed. And horses that don't stay a mile win the Breeders' Cup Mile, don't they? Because it's a very, very sharp track. And she's drawn in stall 1. My only worry is, of course, that Aurelia Lemaitre has managed to mess it up a few times in the past on high-profile rides outside of France. And weaving a passage through from stall 1 on Ramatuelle is going to be the devil's own task, isn't it? But I'm going to put my faith in Aurelian. If he can find the gaps on Ramatuelle, she should win the Breeders' Cup Mile. That's 11.45 at Del Mar.
Yep, so Emily up, John, a 7-2 chance with Unibet. Ramatuelle, but later on in the night, hopefully you'll be celebrating long into the night when Ramatuelle wins at 7-2 as well in the 11.45 at Del Mar. Any other sections from around Britain and such, Graeme, before we move on to the other two?
No, that's me done, James. Yeah, unfortunately, so much racing. I just not had time to have a look at anything else. But I will be going to Newmarket probably on Saturday, so I'll have some there. If you see me there, come up and ask me, and I'll give you loads of losers.
What a treat for anyone going to Newmarket on Saturday. Jonny, we will come to you because we're going to go down under with you. You've got some interesting thoughts on the Melbourne Cup and Racing Australia. Brett, anything else to note from you?
Not really. I can tell you what's been backed in the Melbourne Cup if you want. Land
Yes,
Legend.
please, yeah.
Yeah, Land Legend's been really, really strong now. 12-1 from 18 for Chris Waller. Of course, used to be over here with James Ferguson. And Sea King, of course, who won the Bendigo Cup. Bit of money for that one as well, 12-1. And also, great to see Brian Ellison with the runner out there. One smooth operator, winner of the Geelong Cup, which is a traditional stepping stone to the Melbourne Cup. Support for that one as well. But that's primarily because, of course, they're European, or they were European-based sources. But Buckaroo, your market leader, 4-1 for race. It's due off at 4 o'clock in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah, early start, and of course clashes with the US election. So lots going on next week. Jonny, you know your Australian form. What have you got for us? Looking forward to seeing what you've picked out for us.
Well, we've got Buckaroo in his favourite. He was with Joseph O'Brien, actually. I thought he was going to win a lot of races for Joseph O'Brien, and he never quite did that for me. But, I think he's the right favourite based on his last few runs. Behind Sistina a couple of starts back, who obviously went and bolted up last weekend. Behind Duke de Sesa, just over a week ago, it's another good run. But I think one that's overpriced is Zardozi for James Cummings. He's been behind Buckaroo and a few of the others higher up in the market a couple of times. But I think there's a proper horse in there, and I think if he gets a decent enough draw, I think he'll run very well at a bit of a price. And another one in there who's not guaranteed to actually make the race, but Kinesiology will be having his first run for Chris Waller, was with Jessica Harrington. Been running really well over in Ireland this season. I think if that makes the cut into the race, I think he'll have a good chance as well.
Okay, just a reminder, so we got Kinesiology at 100-1 with Unibet.
And it would have been Zardozi.
For
James Cummings, yeah.
Zardozi at 22-1. And you like winning the Golden Eagle as well on the undercard?
The Golden Eagle's at 5:45 at Rose Hill on Saturday morning, actually.
Okay, my mistake, sorry.
It's a 10 million Australian dollar purse. And so there's a French horse in there called Lavazza, who unfortunately they didn't go for the Prix de la Forêt because they were waiting for this because, well, when you've got that sort of money on an offer, why wouldn't you? Well, I think he would have won the Prix de la Forêt very easily, and I think I don't know what the price will be, but I think he'll win that really impressively, I think.
Well, Unibet have got Lavazza priced up.
In there for William Haggis, who might run well.
Yeah, Lavazza 11-2, the 5:45 on Saturday morning at Rose Hill. So it could be a long day for our listeners if they're going in at 5:45 all the way through to 11:45 at Breeders' Cup. But just simply so much racing to look forward to. That leads us on to what are our best bets of a weekend. Graeme, we'll start with you.
Yeah, very keen to take on Lucia, and it won't surprise you that it's with the Dan Skeltons. Take no chances for mine at 150 at Wetherby on Saturday. Take no chances, the 150 at Wetherby. Jonny?
I'm going to go with another Dan Skelton horse with Katira in the 222 at Wetherby. I think it'll be her day, and some of the others are going to just be going around for a spin, essentially.
Okay, a quick fire double for the Skeltons could be on the cards. Brett, what do you like?
Yeah, well, there's lots of horses you can choose from. There's really good races, as you've already alluded to this weekend. But no, I'm going to go for Barloo in the 130 at Ascot, making its chase debut for Unibet's ambassador Nicky Henderson, who believes that this horse could be a real smart chaser for the team at Seven Barrows. So yes, Barlou for me under Nico de Boinville in the 130 at Ascot.
Good man. And the final one for me will be Fiercely Proud. I mentioned earlier in the 315 at Ascot. Didn't go to plan at Cheltenham last week, but a horse who's very, very good on good ground. And I think Connections will be hoping he can put in a good performance to enhance his chances in the Greatwood at Cheltenham next month. So thanks to our panellists, Graeme Rodway, Jonny, Pearson and Brett Williams. You can catch us next week at 7 p.m. on Thursday for some more thrilling jumps action to look forward to, including the return of the Grand National Fences at Aintree and a personal favourite of mine. It's Badger Beers Day at Wincanton, so previewing that. As ever, do let us know what you fancy this weekend and rate, review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Until next time, enjoy the racing, goodbye and gamble responsibly.